tucked into it before. I'm making up words. Tucked into it before. Making up new verbs. It died at some point Thursday. So now we're back to just the microphone on board this, which is totally cool. I mean, it'll work just fine. But I was kind of bummed the presentations that I gave down at Ormatic, I recorded, but it's just me going like this. And it doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, so anyway. So now it'll sound a little bit different, but it's still audible enough. And the main thing is when you guys ask questions and comment, I'll have to repeat it because I want folks to be able to hear that. And that's the one thing this mic doesn't pick up really well is when you guys say something. So I'll just keep working on that.
Excuse me, project 2, does this coupon, can I use it, for example, or it's only for the first one?
Read the lawyer talk in there. Yeah, read the lawyer talk in there, my friend. So, let's back up to last week. Mute this. Yes, I crafted that lawyer talk very carefully. I have to. We're in America. Didn't say that to be right. So, we just did a quick analysis of box plots. Quick analysis of box plots. Box plots were, I included into a part about measures of what? Do you remember what I called that whole section, this whole section we're kind of in the middle of right now? Yes, ma'am. Measures of relative position. Why do we like that? Why do we, it's a stupid question, it's a dumb question, Why does it exist? There's no pocket on this shirt, remember that. Why does it exist compared to like an average and a standard deviation, for example?
So we can look at points and how they relate to other points.
Awesome, Jay, perfect, that's exactly right. It's a way of looking at a data point, and gravity. It's a way of looking at a data point with how it relates to other data points in the set as a percentage, generally a percentage. That's where all of our work in this class comes from anyway. So what was the first way we measured relative position? We looked at state data. Actually, we looked at Max first. Max and his big fat head girth. What was the first thing we measured? Percentiles. That was one way we looked at it. Percentiles. So, remind me what a percentile is. This is all in your notes, I know, but remind me what a percent. Let's get those neurons firing again from last. What is a percentile?
The proportion of data that a given point exceeds.
Perfect. Proportion of data a given data point exceeds. Exactly. So we had Max was in the 80th percentile for his weight, meaning what?
Heavier than 80% of the people.
Anthony, he's heavier than 80% of all those coded the same way he is, which was white American 2-year-olds, males, white American 2-year-old males. He was heavier than 80%, 80th percentile. Okay, 90th percentile for length, because he was lengthier than 90% of white American 2-year-old males. Head girthier than 85%, so he is in the 85th percentile for head girth. And then we did each of your percentiles for your state data. Each one of your percentiles. You guys remember what your percentiles were? I don't remember them. You don't remember them either. 12th percentile, meaning that you had been to more states than. If you're in the 12th percentile, you've been to more states than 12% of the class. You don't have to tell me how many, just 12%. You weren't 12. No, you had been to 12 states, is what you're saying.
No, I didn't.
No, I'm just making stuff up now.
Okay.
But like, it's okay, even if you were the 12th percentile, that just means you've been to more states than 12% of the class. If you were in the 88th percentile, you've been to more states than 88% of the class, which means you've been to less states than 12% of the class. Now, I'm being a little carefree with percentages there, because what I just said technically, mathematically can't happen. You can't be to more states than 88% of the class and less states than 12, because that's 100%. Where are you in that, right? Where are you in that? I mean, you'd have to be one of the data points in that data set. So I'm being this is like a great example of stat math versus math math, right? That's what I want you to think of percentiles as. The 12th percentile divides the bottom 12% from the upper 88%. The 88th percentile divides the bottom 88% from the upper 12%. What's the one that separates the bottom half from the top half? I mean, 50th percentile for sure. But we have a much more common name that we've been using even longer. Very nice, Jada. The median. We call it the median. 50th percentile is totally fine. You can also call it more rare the second quartile. Remember those guys? The quartiles? What's the first quartile or lower quartile? We're going to play with this again today. What's the lower quartile? 25th percentile. And the upper quartile, Q3, Q sub 3? Nice. So quartiles were the other ones. And these are the ones I want to play with. I want to focus most on it. Percentiles are great, but I mean, mathematically, there's no real good graphical way of looking at percentiles. There's a fantastic way, as you've seen, of looking at quartiles. So what I want to do is, I want to play with those more today. I want to revisit those with a little in-class sampling activity. So I got a little something for us to do today. It's going to require some materials. You're going to need your data set, your data sheet that I gave you guys last time. I've got a few extra copies in case anybody lost theirs. And you'll need your TI, okay, and a partner. So what I want you to do is to pair off with someone. Actually, and Rach, pair up with an 83 user only because the instructions for this bad boy are set up for the 83, and at some point during office hours we can figure out the 89. If you figure out how to do a box plot on that thing yet?
Yeah.
Good. Then you're solid. Everything else in here is very specialized sampling things, which you would most likely use Excel for in reality. So don't sweat it. But just pair up with an 83 user. Look at that. And there's Jenny being very, 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 very kind. And so this is an in-class quiz. I do this every once in a while. Basically, it's a way to pad your guy's grade, number one, and it's a way to kind of break up the monotony of us just asking and answering questions back and forth and doing homework and things like that. So every once in a while, I'll have a little in-class quiz we can play with, where we can toss ideas around back and forth. So, ever got their data sheet? At least one data sheet per group. And you don't have to work with anybody if you don't want to. I mean, it's just more fun. It's easier to do that. That's the one, and that's the graph you need. The graph we're going to be using is the snowfall data on the backside of that, the backside of that data sheet. Coolio? All right, I'm going to turn this off because we don't really need it for